A week ago, a young beautiful lady walked into me and lamented on making purchase of a vehicle that she never intended to buy. She needed a Honda Vazel but ended up buying a Harrier. Car salespersons are very intelligent people and at the same time very cunning. The very first person you get to encounter within a car dealership or a car yard is always these very car salespersons. Well dressed, well spoken, and for the case of ladies, a little tempting and more convincing, which doesn't mean that you shouldn't go for female salespersons. Some of them would always be observant way from the car yard and observe potential clients as they approach the car dealership. So the salespersons are not that intelligent in the sense that they read much of the books, but by the mastery of the skills of closing deals. If anything, a salesperson will only be interested in earning a commission and seal a deal, whichever deal that comes by. It's for that reason that you got to watch this video till the end. Basically, car sales tips and what you got to consider when you encounter a car salesperson for the first time. I happen to be a honest car salesperson, and in this instance, the products that we got at for grab includes these Toyota Aqua that sells at an average price of 1.5, which is negotiable. We've got Honda Vizel at 2.5, negotiable price. We got this Land Cruiser V8 that sells at an average price of 10 million. All these are negotiable prices, remember. Back to the car purchase tips. First things first. When is the very best time to make a visit to a car dealership or a car yard? The best time to visit a car yard is often towards the evening hours, towards the end of the month, or towards the end of the year, or generally towards the closure of a financial year. So during the closure of business, during the evening hours, and during the end of the month, the dealerships often got sales targets to meet, and by that you will be having a better bargaining power. Towards the end of the year or a financial year, likewise, these very dealerships often got the very targets that you've got to meet, and if you're convincing enough, you will be in a position of getting better deals. So during the morning hours, the car salespersons often have all the time to convince you to pay higher pricing. So that is the first consideration that you should make, the time of purchase. The second tip is the mode of payment and basically how you're going to purchase this vehicle. Is it purchased by cash? Is it purchased by refinancing? Or is it higher purchase basis? So there's lots of mistake that often people do. By cash, I don't mean that you've got to come with the cash that is the fiat cash, that is the paper money. So that is a mistake that most people do. In short, not at a time should you visit a car dealership with fiat cash, that is the paper money. For the moment you make purchase in cash, such transactions are very difficult to verify or to confirm. Suppose it gets to the worst, it could be very difficult to convince any person that you actually made the purchase in cash, that you offered cash to a dealership and they offered you the money, I mean the car. So it's not just all about the record part, but even it's much risky as you risk losing your cash to any rogue salespersons, that is, or generally conmen. So the mode of payment, the best mode of payment is a wired payment. So you got to make transaction do a bank transfer from a bank to a bank. So that is advisable, such that for any records, you can always have the bank statement as proof of payment. And if it is a must that you have to make payment in cash, then you've got to be accompanied by at least 3 or 4 people to witness that very transaction. And besides, you should be doing an agreement, a written agreement to confirm that the payment was done in cash. So that will be generally to confirm that there was a commitment between the dealership and the buyer. By this, you should be having a copy of that very agreement confirming receipt of cash receipt of the cash and an agreement to exchange that very cash with the vehicle. By that, you shall be a little safer. However, the best tip, as mentioned, is a wired transfer, bank to bank transfer, or bank to the dealership's account transfer. Okay, concerning the hire purchase basis, most people often tend to get to the refinancing. We'll be doing a video about the pros and cons of doing refinancing, or generally linking up with microfinances, such that you make deposits and pay the remaining balance in refinanced by microfinances. Lots of cons, littles of pros. So that will be coming in our next video. So we'll also be doing a video on whether you should make a purchase in cash, or the best mode of transaction that you should be making in our next video. If it is a must that you've got to have your vehicle refinanced, or if you have to make a higher purchase basis, remember not to let the car salesperson know initially that you're making purchase or refinancing. The first thing that they will ask you is whether you've got the full amount of money to pay, or whether you are going to make payment you're going to refinance. So you should avoid that question if asked. For what reason? By you displaying your payment terms from the initial phase of encounter with the salespersons, already strikes off your bargaining power. I know you needed this vehicle, however, it's not stocking out for now. So would you prefer this? So that is yet another question that you should avoid totally when asked by a salesperson. For what reason? Being a grown-up, you must have traveled all the way from whichever location to the destined car in search of a specific vehicle for, say, let's say for the case of this fielder that sells at 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. And upon arrival, you trying to get convinced by a person who you are not even related to make a purchase to a different vehicle. So that is yet a consideration, and already a turn off the moment you even start contemplating making a purchase to a different vehicle from the vehicle that you intended. Is already an indication that you just about to make the greatest mistake of your life. And just as we get back to the hire purchase, let us deal with the hire purchase basis. Okay, so the best method to make purchase on hire purchase basis, or generally the best mode of payment, the best means to make payment of a vehicle, is to be your own bank. So that is always referred to as be your be your own bank. By being your own bank, that means that it is not advisable. Okay, as a salesperson, I would recommend that you make purchase in cash, such that I get to earn my commission. So just like any other salespersons. However, the best mode of payment is to be your own bank. So by being your own bank, that will imply that the moment you've got, say for Honda Vezel, like for this case, this sells at 2.5 million. If you've got the 2.5 million cash from your own hard-earned money, so it's not advisable to pay directly all the 2.5 million. Instead, what you should do is to approach, say, a finance organization, or say most preferably a SACCO, deposit the 2.5 million to the SACCO. After that, ask for a loan from the very SACCO that is equivalent, that is enough to make purchase of that very vehicle. So that very financial institution, like for the case of a SACCO, at fair interest rate will award you a 2.5 million loan. So if they give you a 2.5 million loan, use that loan to make purchase of the vehicle. I know I'm telling you tips that no other salesperson will let you know of. So remember, you have completed making purchase of this car in cash, all thanks to the financial institution that has loaned you out this. And remember, the choice of the financial institution is also very critical. Check the interest rate such that you don't get to lose that amount of money. So here now comes the tick timer bomb. So you needed to make payment of this loan monthly, isn't it? If you get to strike a deal with a good financial institution, that will mean that the amount that you'd initially deposited will be earning compounded interest, and that very interest can be used to pay up for the loan. So this mostly works when you got to deal with the two different financial institutions, one of which you got the deposit from, and the other that you shall be paying this loan, the one that you acquired the loan from. So that requires a detailed discussion, and we shall be discussing that in detail in our next video, and you shall be in a position of finding out the sense that we're talking about. Okay, so we should be having it at that. Remember, this is Max Gamble TV. Max Gamble TV is a leading YouTube channel that avails you the best of car offers within Mombasa and generally within Kenya. And by that, you should consider, if you've watched this video to this point, you should consider subscribing such that any moment we post any videos, you are amongst the first persons to get notified. Remember, all these products here are stocking out and they are selling at fair pricing. If interested in any pricing to any other product that you're seeing here, feel free to reach out. Down is my contact, and we shall be helping you with the best of purchase tips. Besides, we also offer importation services and mostly clearance of your goods from the port of Mombasa. So stay tuned.